Supreme being.
Divinities.
Spirits.
Woo! Ancestors.
Magic. And medicine.
Hi guys, we're group number 5 and we're here to find out what people on campus know about African traditional religion.
See the champions take the field now. Unify us, make us feel proud.
What is the supreme being in African traditional religion?
Have you ever heard of the Supreme Being before?
The
Supreme Being, yeah.
Not the Supreme Being.
Have you ever heard of the Supreme Being in reference to African traditional religion? No? Okay.
So African traditional religion has a Supreme Being and divinities. Do you know the difference between the two?
I do not.
Did you take a guess at it?
Supreme beings and divinities. So does one have magic and one does not? One is more religious and one is more magic, I guess.
Well, actually, the Supreme Being is like the top.
So basically with ATR, they've got 5 major belief systems. One of them is the Supreme Being. What do you think of when you hear the Supreme Being?
God.
You think of God? Yeah.
The supreme being is the highest power in Africa who is said to have created all things there.
Well, the Supreme Being is, of course, called differently in different parts of Africa. The Supreme Being is, of course, the apex of the belief, and it represents the monotheistic belief of Africans, contrary to people who think that African belief is polytheistic. No, it's monotheistic because there is a belief in one Supreme Being who is the creator and who is the sustainer of the world.
Singing songs underneath the sun. Let's rejoice in the beautiful game. And together.
How do divinities play a role in African traditional religion?
What do you think of when you hear the word divinity?
Divinity? Don't I think divine should be like heavenly?
They also have divinities. How do you think divinities would be separate from the Supreme Being?
I guess it would be like you have God and you have a whole bunch of lower gods, kind of like Greek mythology.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Divinities act as intermediaries between the Supreme Being and humans and are venerated through rituals, through ceremonies.
The divinities are supposed to be the intermediaries between man and the Supreme Being. They are actually supposed to be the representative of human before the Supreme Being. That is why most of the time they are called messengers of the Supreme Being. So they actually solicit for man before the Supreme Being.
Now wave your flag, wave your flag. And everybody will be singing it. And we all will be singing it.
Where do spirits tie into African traditional religion?
Divinities and ancestors are 2 major beliefs of African traditional religion. Do you know how they are worshipped in a way?
No, I mean, I would assume like all religions, there's like dances and songs and maybe a bit of like a narrative surrounding their religions. But apart from that, I don't know any specifics. It's just all speculation.
Okay, thank you.
And how do you think spirits play a role in African traditional religion?
Probably up there, seeing as most of them I think are tribal, so that would be like ancestral spirits. I think would be a big part of their religions.
Both good and evil spirits are at a lower level than divinities and inhabit natural phenomena in nature.
They could be good or bad. And most of the time, they are not seen at the same level as the divinities. Indeed, their veneration is not at the same level and importance as that of the divinity. And most of the time, spirits are generally in the sense that people think there are some beings that are superior to man, but that inhabit different objects as their habitats, and who can bring some kind of activities to play on them. That is why we have the one we call the good ones, which of course are very disposed to human, and the evil ones that one has to run away from.
What role do ancestors play in African traditional religion?
Ancestors are another big part of the religion. How do you think that they come into play?
I guess there's like a huge respect for ancestors. I know in a lot of other cultures, there's like a huge respect for ancestors, and so that's something that could come into play, but I'm not sure.
Ancestors are a big part of the religion. What do you think about ancestors in general when it comes to African traditional religion?
When I think about ancestors, I guess I kind of think about two things. I think that's the way it's probably passed down. There's a lot of oral tradition through ancestors, but then they probably also bring ancestors into as part of the religion that they can connect with as a part of like gods or spirit, maybe.
Gotcha. Now, a big thing with ancestors is they're not necessarily worshipped, but they're what you would call they're venerated.
Okay.
What kind of comes to your mind when you think of Africans venerating through their ancestors as part of their spiritual beliefs?
They use them almost as like a communication, like a method to approach God or spirit or something like that.
This guy's good.
Ancestors are a really big part of African traditional religion. What do you think about that? Do you have any idea how ancestors would play in?
Maybe you would look up to the people that came before you, just like kind of worship them, I guess, in their case, because they went through the same things they went through.
The veneration of ancestors is extremely important because it shows respect for elders and forefathers within the religion as they exist in a spiritual world that is not bound by time or space.
When you look at ancestors, it's a very important aspect of African religion because it actually represents the belief in the cycle of life. In other words, the fact that you continue to have a human being being born, dying, and coming again. And ancestors are actually determines the very essence of the African belief in afterlife. And that is why they are venerated.
What role do medicine and magic play in African traditional religion?
Magic is one of the major beliefs of African traditional religion. How do you think it plays into religion?
I would not have the slightest idea.
All right. Okay, well, thank you for your help.
Well, magic is one of the big things in the religion. How do you think they use it, or how do you think it comes into play?
Medicine, maybe?
Do you think magic is one of the major beliefs of African traditional religion?
I don't think major, maybe a big part of it.
Do you know that one of the major beliefs of African traditional religion is magic?
Magic.
Yeah. Do you know how that plays into African traditional religion? Could you take a guess? No.
I know animism. I'm pretty sure animism is
Okay.
part of traditional African
All right. Yeah. Nice.
Magic is the use of nature's resources for the non-therapeutic needs of man, and medicine is the traditional art and science of preventing and curing disease.
Magic is actually the attempt to control the supernatural world and also to bring about an activity forcing the supernatural to make it happen through what we can call a mystical means. So there must be a metaphysical means of doing that. And to attain that metaphysical means, you have to be able to control. You must have the technical know-how in order to compel the spirits to do your will and bring about a particular thing. Now, on the other hand, medicine is actually a scientific process of curing diseases.
And then we'll take it higher. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue. And then we'll take it higher. Oh, out in the street. Out in the street.
Nobody really knows anything about African traditional religion we've been learning today. It's been an experience, it's been fun. Most of the questions we ask them clearly and succinctly, but still, we're not getting much help out there. So, Dr. Edward Bigbay, I'm glad I took your class because I'd be like one of those jokers out there if you didn't impart your knowledge about African traditional religion. So thank you.